What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Tiebreak Pod. We have entered the grass court season. And with that, we had a return of the women's GOAT, one of the best players on the women's side of tennis, Serena Williams. She returned to Queens playing doubles with Vicky Mboko, who super unfortunately did suffer an injury in singles. Their doubles campaign was unable to continue, and Mboko is actually already withdrawn from Wimbledon. So wishing a speedy recovery. Hopefully that it is not as serious as it looked like it could be. I had another big injury a few weeks back with Baptiste. Ended up being MCL, ACL. So fingers crossed that Mboko can avoid that fate. Looking at the grass court season, we've had some Americans making noise. We had the final of the Boss Open. Top-ranked Ben Shelton versus fellow American Taylor Fritz. Ben Shelton ended up coming out on top, captured one of the first grass titles of the season. Also on the men's side, we had Damien Moore. He's currently in a third set, so going to see if he can pull that out. On the women's side, Montgomery captured her first title. Unfortunately, Krejcikova had to withdraw, so that was a walkover. And then someone who was making noise, Emma Raducanu. She had a very strong run to the Queen's final. A lot of good players. She ended up getting bageled in the first set, losing that second set in a tiebreak. Fair play to Vekic. She played great, captured a final there at the London Open, and did it at Andy Murray Arena. So fantastic. Looking ahead to Wimbledon, to the grass major, I think Taylor Fritz, he had a good, strong run here. He is reminding everyone why he's considered a threat here at Wimbledon outside of the absolute elite. Ben Shelton, I mean, can he continue to make some noise, capturing a title? Interested to see that. Zverev, he entered Halle as the top seed. Is he going to be able to carry over this consistency and, being at the cusp of that great to elite, good to elite? Is he going to be able to turn that into grass court results? I don't know. I think without Alcaraz, this could be a very interesting major. Can Sinner capture Wimbledon? I think he's got to be the favorite. He's overwhelmingly got to be the favorite. But there's some players that can challenge him. Who knows if a match can go long again, what happens if he wakes up not feeling great. So we'll see. Typically, we see players who start hot in some of these early grass tournaments carry that confidence, carry some of that momentum into Wimbledon. On the women's side, Rybakina, what happened there? That was super disappointing for her. And so, as we enter into a new surface, another surface again, who are we going to see? We're guaranteed back up a second, we are almost guaranteed a separate slam winner on the men's side, unless Alexander Zverev is able to break that grass curse. He's had multiple years he's been in the top 10, up to world number 2. Grass is his weakest surface. He's only been to the semifinal here at Wimbledon once, never reached the final. His movement looks a little less natural than on hard courts, than on clay. His return position, especially against some good servers, is not great. And just playing from the baseline like he does, it does not give him quite the same advantage as it does on some of the faster courts, on hard courts. His serve should make him more dangerous on grass, yet it has not proven to be the case. Is he actually a realistic contender here at Wimbledon? Or is he just going to be another top player whose game cannot translate to grass? If it does not this year, then we are guaranteed a unique 2026 major champion. Obviously, we had Carlos Alcaraz capture the Aussie Open. We had Zverev break through and win Roland Garros. And unless something crazy happens and he's able to turn it around, then we're going to have another champion, more than likely Jannik Sinner, here at Wimbledon. But we have the unique slam champs. It continues for the year. Last time that it happened across the 4 majors was 2014, the Big Four era. And we've also had 2 separate ones on the women's side. Interested to see if that can continue. I think Rybakina, she's someone to watch. unfortunately had an early exit here at her first grass tournament. I think there's a lot of good players. I think Mira Andreeva, I mean, she has a lot of momentum. So we're going to have to wait and see. Super excited. I always love coming from Roland Garros, hitting some grass tournaments and just really quickly turning around and being in another major. One of the best times of year. And I also want to touch on 1990s men's players, born in the 1990s. We've had 3 slams. I'm going to only limit my arguments, my discussion around Daniel Medvedev, Dominic Thiem, and Alexander Zverev. They're the 3 men's players born in the 90s who have captured a slam. So let's look at Medvedev. He's gotten to be world number 1. Neither of the other 2 have done that. He's been to this multiple slam finals. He's won the ATP finals. He's had the most weeks at number 1 across this group of 3. He's had some pretty good consistency, some longevity in that top 5, top 10, top 15. If I was drafting a career, I think that's a good career. You know, if I'm building out, hey, what do I want a career to look like? Looking at Dominic Thiem, it's more of a really good peak, some really unfortunate injury luck. He won the U.S. Open. Some people will put a asterisk there. He's been to 3 other slam finals. He multiple times had beaten the big 3. He reached major finals on multiple surfaces. He was arguably the second best clay player in the world behind Nadal for a few years there. Peak for peak, he might have been the most dangerous out of these 3 players. The tragedy is that the injuries hit him when he entered what should be his prime. And then looking at Zverev, capturing that slam kind of created the total body of work now. Multiple Masters 1000 titles, slam champion here at Roland Garros a few weeks ago. Won the gold medal, 2 ATP finals, and just consistently relevant for the past 10 to 12 years, past 8 to 10 years. For years, it was, he's a great player, done a lot, but he can't get a slam. That criticism is gone. Looking at kind of ranking these 3, I think Thiem is number 3. I think Zverev, Medvedev are almost interchangeable. I would probably put Medvedev at number 1 out of these 3 right now. And that's mainly just because he's been number 1 in the world, and he's had the longest period as that top tier. But you could say the same thing about Zverev, and it could be recency bias. But he's also had a lot of consistency of being a top 5, top 8 player. He does have that gold medal. He has twice the amount of ATP finals. So, you know, if I'm starting a tennis franchise, say I'm playing Madden and creating a franchise, and I'm drafting a player 10 years ago, would I take Medvedev? Would I take Zverev? Would I take Thiem? I think I would not take Thiem, just being honest. I would probably take Medvedev, and that's just being a world number 1, being able to claim, hey, I was the best in the world at this period of time, which Zverev has yet to do. But those are 2 dang near interchangeable. So I don't know. I don't know what to say there. Very, it's cool to look at, and it's exciting that all 3 of those players did get at least a slam. You could argue 2 of them do have an asterisk there, and with Thiem and Zverev just having those chaotic tournaments. But on the flip side, you could say, hey, they actually put their head down, focused, and did not let the pressure get to them. So, and I know we've talked a little bit about players boycotting, wanting a bigger revenue split. And we've had a little bit more. So Wimbledon came out. They had a 20% increase year over year. First qualifier, getting to the first round of qualifiers, you get just shy of $27,000. Getting to round 1, just shy of $107,000. Getting to the finals, 2.4. Winning it, 4.8. Significant increase. I think players will see this as a step in the right direction. I don't know if players are going to think this is enough of an increase, enough of a bigger slice of the pie. So we're going to see. I do know that they had asked for 70 million pounds, sorry for flipping dollars to pounds, which was about 16% of the gross revenue that Wimbledon comes in with. Wimbledon came back with 62.2 million pounds. 20% increase, just shy of the target that the players were wanting. Don't know if it's going to be enough to stave off any protest, any media boycotts, but did want to keep anyone updated there just because that's been something that we have touched on in the past. And then last thing I'm going to touch on this episode is Novak Djokovic came out and said, I intend to retire at the 2028 Olympics while holding the Serbian flag. He's the man that's completed tennis. We have year and a half, 2 years left with him capturing that gold in 2024. I joked with my family, with my friends, that he sold his soul to capture that. With his knee injury, he kind of did. I think it's permanently etched into my memory of him turning around, looking at his family, dropping his racket. I think he dropped to his knees, like tears in his eyes, like knowing, hey, I did this for my country. Yeah, he had won all these slams, been the GOAT for his country, but to capture it on the national stage like that, in the international stage at the Olympics, big monkey off his back. I think he's going to enjoy the 2028 Olympics. He's not going to win it, the gold there. Who knows? Could he play doubles and make a run? Maybe a little easier on him in terms of physicality, but doubles is a more reflexes game. So don't want to touch too much on that as we do still have some time left with him, but it was interesting to see him announce that this early. So very excited for what we get left with the GOAT. Excited to see if he can capitalize on a Carlos-free Wimbledon. He's going to keep chasing number 25, getting slimmer and slimmer chances for that. And then last thing, actually, do want to touch on one more thing. And Roger Federer, he's coming back, not competitively. He does remain retired. He's coming back for an exhibition event. We're super, super excited. Coming back at the U.S. Open to play some doubles exhibition, just a celebration. He captured the U.S. Open 5 times in a row, 4 to 08, has 20 majors. I mean, when you think of the U.S. Open at night, kind of think of Roger Federer. So super excited to see him come back, have some fun with some players out there. And yeah, he'll be playing with Andy Roddick, John McEnroe, and Andre Agassi 7 years after his last match appearance, which was back in 2019, which is crazy to me. It's been that much time. So it'll be a lot of fun. Have a super exciting episode coming up in a few days, and I'm going to look at who will be, in my opinion, the top 10 ATP WTA at the start of 2030. Don't want to say anything more than that. Going to be a fun one, and probably going to be completely wrong, as we got some youngsters coming up who could be elite. So thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. This has been the Tiebreak Pod. Check us out, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and on socials. See ya.